Welcome to the Wolf Mother Podcast. My name is Dan Aharkis, and as always, we will begin by taking 3 deep breaths. We'll take a deep breath in through the nose, softly out of the mouth. Another deep breath in again through the nose, out of the mouth. Last time, deep breath in, hold it at the top for a moment. Soften your shoulders, jaw, space in between your eyebrow, and let it out of your mouth. Today's topic is going to be about why winter is so hard. Why is winter so difficult for so many people to get through? I think the first most obvious answer to that is if you do live within a place that it gets much darker earlier, seasonal depression, right? That's a very easy answer to give it, is that when winter happens, seasonal depression happens. But we also do have, for the northern hemisphere, we have the holiday season tied in with all of this. So there's a few things that I feel are important to unpack here. Winter can be a really beautiful and important time of the year to learn from. So if we look at the cyclical nature of the earth, winter is not just important, but it is a part of existence. That death portal that winter brings, that complete stillness and slowness and silence, is extremely important for all of us to experience throughout our lives. And the earth shows us that when she goes through a period of letting everything decay and die, right? So obviously there are other places that are in the northern hemisphere that maybe your trees are still abundant, you still can grow things. But for some other places, once winter hits, boom, that's it. Like where I grew up, everything just dies. And you've got just the soil that is regenerating itself, taking its time for rest and rejuvenation, so that when the springtime comes, you have a completely new bed to work with. So I do feel like the most difficult thing for people when it comes to winter and rest is people don't want to seem lazy. People don't want to be perceived by society, by their friends, by their families, by their coworkers as lazy. And so people really struggle in the winter months to actually take that time for themselves. Now you add in the holiday season on top of it, and people expect so much out of you. There's 8,000 fucking holiday parties. You gotta buy gifts for every person that you've met fucking 3 times in your life. So there is no rest and restoration during winter because you're just doing everything that you possibly can to keep up with the status quo of what's going on around you, of what everyone else is doing. But the reality is, many moons ago, what did our ancestors do in winter? They cooked, right? They had harvested everything that they could harvest from their harvest season in the fall. And so when winter came, they would cook with each other and they would make fires and they would sit around the fires and they would talk and they would eat and they would drink and they would relax and they would wait until the spring season came again, which then meant to really start working again and really start giving energy to that outward life force that we have. But during the winter, especially if you lived in a place where everything died away, the earth was telling you, you just have to wait it out for now. Our society is not constructive or supportive to people taking rest and restoration. So this is obviously a bigger conversation. This isn't just about why winter is hard for people. Our society does not help people who need to take rest. And everyone needs to take rest at some point in their life. If you've been around for a while and you know me and you've listened to some of the things that I've spoken about, I have talked about when people get sick, society society has not shifted to a supportive environment for people that are sick and need to recover. Society has not shifted to be supportive for people that, whether it's physically, mentally, either or, need to take a step back, they can't do that because our jobs don't support that. Our needing to pay bills don't support that. You could even take it a step further and you could talk about, specifically, I really feel like I can only speak on the United States, but you could take it a step further and talk about women when they have children and how unsupportive that is for them, that they don't have more time, not just to give to their child that they just birthed into the fucking world, but also to their own bodies that just went through 9 months of creating and housing a life, and then also went through this big experience. Like, there's just, it's not a supportive space. So to round out this conversation and bring it back to what we want to bring it back to, why is winter so hard? Our society isn't meant for us to really understand the juice of winter. But now let's shift into, how can we understand the teachings and the juice and the wisdom of winter in a society that is not supportive of that? So we'll take a deep breath, let it go. There are all little different things that you can do. Now, last month, December of 2023, we had our Peru plant medicine retreat, our second one, and people had to go on dieta because they were sitting with ayahuasca. And so the guests that came on this retreat really had the opportunity. And if you're on my email list, then you got a ton of emails about this and how sinking into the energy of no, I don't want to go to your holiday party. No, I don't actually want to spend the holidays with you. No, I don't want to do A, B, C, X, Y, Z, and how important that is to cultivate your own safe space within you during the winter seasons. So now, as we're moving into this 2024 season, but also January, February, and March, where the winters can get rough, what can you set up for yourself that if you want to tell people, no, I don't want to do this, you're supported, probably by yourself. Why I'm saying you're probably going to be supported not only by yourself, but mostly by yourself, is unless you have a community or family and friends that exist around you that are also like, we must bask in the wisdom of winter. Most people are going to be like, what do you mean you're not coming to this gathering or this party or whatever it is? People are going to expect you to show up. How can you support yourself? Not only when you say no to certain things that are going on, but how can I fill my time with something else and be okay with that? This is going to look different for every person. So that's why I'm kind of like overarching this, because I can give you examples, but what person A needs is going to be different from person B. An example-ish I can give you is, okay, maybe there's a Valentine's Day party in February for your job and you really don't want to go to that, but your coworkers are pressuring you to go or your friends are pressuring you to go, whatever, and you say no. You're probably going to have some FOMO. So what can you set up for yourself? How can you set up a nice little Valentine's Day basket with things in there? Maybe it is like little gifts that you can open for yourself in this basket. Maybe it's letters that you write to yourself ahead of time. Like, I know you wish you were at this party, but you know that protecting your energy is more important. You know that resting is more important at this time. So turn on this TV show for the next 2 hours. And you put that in your little basket and you pull it out and then you go, oh, that's right. I didn't want to go to this party because I want to rest. I need to rest. I deserve to rest. And I really like this movie and I really like this show. And I'm going to make myself a cup of hot chocolate. I'm going to make myself a cup of tea. I'm going to order in some food and I'm going to cocoon myself in my own space. So that's just kind of like, it's a very broad example that I can give. But we want to be proactive in the winter instead of reactive, because the looming of the darkness is very difficult for us as humans to deal with. And many years ago, our ancestors had to combat the loom of the darkness all together in community. Now we don't have that. So it is your responsibility to do that for you, if you choose to do so. You might have listened to this whole thing and been like, Dan, I'm not going to do fucking any of that. I really don't care. Thank you for listening anyway. But maybe this will plant a seed in the back of your mind that you might at some point do this. So be gentle with yourself during the winter seasons. Obviously, there are tons of things that you can do to connect with the energy of winter. But the main thing is to slow down and spend more time with yourself. I'm also not saying that you need to be thinking ahead of, well, what am I going to plant in the spring? And what am I going to do for this new year? And what are my goals and dreams and blah, 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 blah. I understand that when a new year is upon us, we kind of jump to these things that we have to come out the gate fucking titty swinging. But there's something so beautiful about doing nothing so that when you're really ready to plant in your beautiful, clean bed of dirt in the spring, that you've really taken the time during winter to strategically place those seeds in that bed of dirt. If you take the time to be more intentional now, maybe not even intentional, but maybe just in a more integrative way, and really think, well, if I place this seed here, what might happen? And just think about the possibilities. Don't force yourself to begin that and start something. Just, if at some point I start this, how will that integrate into my life? What will that look like in my life? And just let the seed be in your mind for a moment before placing it into the world and running with it. There's so much about our lives that is so fast-paced. And one of the most beautiful teachings of the winter is that you don't have to be fast for anything. The earth is showing you, I'm not doing shit for anyone else but me. And however long it takes me to reemerge from the soil, however long it takes me to reemerge my leaves on my branches, is gonna take. It's not up to you, it's up to me. So thank you so much for listening on whatever platform you are listening to this. And we hope that you have a beautiful, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, restful and rejuvenating winter. And we hope if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, you are having a beautiful and explorative summer season. Many blessings to you and to yours.